Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you a DyeStat short just ahead of the 50th Prefontaine Classic, one that everyone has been looking forward to all year long, especially this guy right here, because he's getting a chance as a high schooler. I know he's graduated already, but he's still technically a high schooler against some of these pros. Owen Powell will be racing in the men's international mile this weekend at Hayward Field, and perhaps an opportunity for him to take down Alan Webb's record, which he also set at the Prefontaine Classic in 3 minutes, 53.43 seconds. Oh, and I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, you hear a time like that, like what's the first thing you think of?
I mean, it's kind of scary, that's for sure. Like you have all these high schoolers hyping up like the sub four and everything, but it just feels like the difference between 353 and 359 just feels like a big gap. But I think that's something, hopefully I'm ready for, and something to have in the back of my mind while racing this weekend. And yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot.
Well, it's not like you're going into this race, not having broken far before. You've done it twice already, but you had to go back to the indoor season when you did that, when you first did it at the Dempsey, and then you broke the high school record out in Boston when you ran 356. We've chatted about this a couple of times about both those races. Did those two races give you a sense that's like, all right, this gives me a pretty good idea whether or not I can actually, run faster than both Alan Webb and Jim Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, definitely running 356 indoors. Like thinking about that, I was like, all right, I'm on a good track, I'm on good pace, but we're not done yet. Like I still got 3, 4, 5 more months to go, and hopefully, I keep progressing. And that's just been my main goal, just to be able to progress off of that. And yeah, I think that was a good start to my season, but I think I have a little bit more to go. So
When you've looked at what you've accomplished this outdoor season, which we saw what you did at the Brooks PR, you ran 146. Then, of course, you go run this monster PR in the 1500 at the Portland Track Fest, and you run 336. Do you think your fitness is peaking right now at its highest it's ever been?
yeah, I for sure think I'm in the fittest, best shape of my life. Like, and I think the workouts I think line up with that, and especially the races line up with that. But yeah, I think I just even though I'm fitter than I think I've ever been, I still got to like go in with the same mindset that I've been going in with. Just like I'm gonna go out there and just run as hard as I can on the day, and if that gets me, that should just get me wherever I want. And it's I think I have like time goals and stuff in mind, but in the end, I'll just be happy with myself this weekend if I can just run as hard as I can.
Where was your mind at going into that Portland Track Fest before you even ran a 336?
Um, I mean that race is I've done that race. I've done 800s there like the previous 2 years, and they've always gone. Both those races went pretty well, and yeah, so I just kind of was like going in just thinking running against pros is definitely a lot different than running against high schoolers. Like you can kind of turn off your mind a little bit more and just like get dragged along. And I kind of thought that's what was. I mean, I still had to be like up and alert, like and but yeah, I for sure think that one is a lot easier to get pulled in a field with people that are a lot better than you. Like that race, I just got outclassed. Like I can't remember what
Mhm.
place I finished, but I mean that race, I was just running to hold on for dear life and just run as fast as I can. And yeah, going into that race, I think that was like my fifth week straight of racing, so I was definitely feeling it a little bit, but I was still dialed. I was still locked in, and yeah, my goal was to just hold on to the back of the pack and just close as hard as I could, and that's what I ended up doing. And uh, 336 was kind of like 336, 337. That was kind of like the goal, like I guess the aim. So that was kind of like that's what I've been like doing 300s in practice at. Just would have been that was kind of the pace I've been dialing in. So that was really cool to see that kind of pay off. But I was just happy with that. I was most happy with that race because I was just feeling so terrible before it. Like I said, like it was just my fifth week of racing in a row after states and then Brooks PR. Like I like did like a little shakeout like 6 hours out from the race, and I threw up on the shakeout. That's how like terrible like my stomach hurt so bad for some reason. So I was just like, and then on the warm up I wasn't feeling much better, so I was like, all right, I just gotta make it through 3.5 minutes of pain. Like I just gotta run as hard as I can. And I was just really happy with that race because that's what I did. Like even though it was hurting, that was one of the races where I've been hurting. That race hurt probably the most out of any race this year, and I was able to just keep going. Like I was able to tough it out. So I was really proud of that race because of that.
So how do you evaluate something like that, knowing that, you went into this race knowing that you weren't going to win? I mean, that was a guaranteed, but
Yeah.
also, there's a lot of like different strategies you probably learn from, racing against those guys older than you.
Yeah, I mean, after just a whole high school season of racing, like in every single high school race, I've been like up front, and a lot of time just like sometimes even leading, like or just like up in lane one. But this race, I was just like in the pack, spat out the back. I was in lane two, I think, for most of that race, which is definitely like um that kind of threw me off a little bit. That's something I got to work on. Yeah, just like run it. And these guys are big. Like these are like collegiate pro like men. Like they're that it's definitely just like a different type of race being in a pro race like that. But I think that's definitely a good, I guess, setup going into this pre-race. I'm glad I didn't just get thrown straight in the deep end right away. But yeah, that was kind of my main takeaway. Like that was definitely a good learning opportunity there.
You and I had talked a little bit about a couple months ago about the fact that you got invited to run at the Prefontaine Classic. Or I think it was like maybe last month or something like that. Your mom was telling me about it too. But how did that come about? Of course, your parents have really good ties with, University of Oregon and Hayward, and I'm sure there was somebody within the Prefontaine Classic board or whatever you want to call that. That's like, yeah, let's give Owen an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen in the past just the best high schoolers like every year getting an opportunity to run in here. Like Colin Solomon did that. I think was at 23, and then was it Drew Hunter before that? Or no, I don't think Hobbs ever did it because it was COVID year. But I think, yeah, I mean, now it's like everybody's gotten so good where it's not even possible to have like a high schooler in that Bowerman mile. But I'm still like so thankful I've got this opportunity to run in the international mile here. Like I've gone to this race before, like I watched it on TV and stuff too. Like this is just kind of like one of, if not the biggest like meet in the United States, and I'm just really like excited that I get to be a part of that.
What is your first memory you have of Prefontaine? Whether, you were 3 years old running around Hayward Field or like you were in middle school, high school, what's your fondest memory you've had of Prefontaine?
Of Prefontaine,
The classic, I
um,
should say. Not the
oh,
not the
just the
person, the
race,
meet,
not the dude.
the race.
Yeah, the meet. I mean, honestly, I probably have like gone to that race when I was like really little, and I just like didn't even know like that was that race, because just like yeah, I'm growing up at around Hayward and stuff. But yeah, I guess the first time I remember it, like when I started really getting into track and field, I think it was my like late my freshman year. I remember watching the mile where Jakob and Nagus both went like 3:43, and I just thought that was like insane. And then there's a bunch of other people in that field running like sub 350. Like that was just mind-boggling to me. And the fact that like just a couple years later I get to be in like the same meet as that is just that's just pretty cool for me. I just realized this too. I've got a little pre-poster up here.
That,
This is from
that
this is
looks
from
like was
2023
that
when we went.
was that the Diamond League final?
Yeah, that was 23.
Yeah, so that was Yard Nagus and Jakob Princeton, and Faith Kippigon was also there. That was the last time that she ran at Hayward Field. So
Oh yeah, did she
um,
break the world record that day or no?
I
Was that the
don't
previous
think
one?
she did, but she broke it last year. I know that, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure she actually
She broke-
broke it that day.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but of course, we can talk a little bit more about, other athletes to really watch for this weekend. But, you won't be the only high schooler in this men's international mile. You get a nice little surprise from Sam Ruth all the way from New Zealand, which you are very familiar with. You saw him at the Arcadia Invitational. How cool is that for you to, and I don't know what your friendship is like now. I'm sure you guys have grown closer since the Arcadia Invitational, but, how cool is this for you, both you guys? I mean, you've already accomplished so much within this last year.
Yeah, like I said before, like it's always like the best like couple high schoolers going into this race, and the fact that this year that there's like it's two, like there's two high schoolers with it, that's just so cool. And like yeah, like I said, I met him last year or a couple months ago at Arcadia, and like we cooled down together and stuff, and just like he's a super nice guy, and I can't wait to see him again um this weekend. And yeah, it'll be cool kind of knowing like that. I guess I'm like not alone. Like I'm not just not the only little fish in the big sea here.
Just looking at the entry list, and I'm laughing at this because your dad has coached three guys that are in this field: Luke Hauser, Sam Prakel, and Sam Tanner, which I'm sure they have all watched you growing up, especially Sam Prakel when he was at Oregon. is it mind-boggling that, 18-year-old Owen Powell is now racing against, Luke Hauser, Sam Prakel, and Sam Tanner that, you grew up watching these guys and probably idolized them when you were in middle school and high school?
Yeah, that's always just kind of crazy that it's gone like almost like full circle, I guess. But
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, like these are just it's just such like a good field, and it's like still kind of mind-boggling that I'm going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So that's really
Not to
cool.
mention the fact, not to mention the fact Simeon Birnbaum, Vincent Ciotti, Sam Gilman. I mean, the fact that this is the B race
Oh yeah,
tells us a whole lot about what's going to be in that Bowerman mile. So, for you, what do you want to, obviously, as you said, you want to run fast, as anybody wants to, but this is a big opportunity for you and a big learning opportunity as well. Like, what do you think when it's all said and done, the biggest lesson you want to take away from this race?
yeah. I think, like I said, this is going to be a race where I get smoked. We have 348 guys in this race. Like I don't think I'm quite there yet. And yeah, I guess the main thing I want to take away from this is just, despite like it's just going to be a different type of race from what I'm used to. Like it's going to be different from
Mhm.
like high school races, state championships, and stuff. But this is the stuff I got to get used to next year. Like if I want to make these NCAA finals and stuff, I got to be against these guys that run 348 and stuff. So I think even though I'm probably not going to end up beating some of these guys, being in the race and just kind of like being able to test the water, like finding out where like running my own race, knowing where my red line is, like, and just being able to run as hard as I personally can in a race where there's going to be people running a lot faster than me is, I think, an important skill for me to learn. And yeah, also, I hope this is my first free classic of many. And I'm pretty familiar with Hayward Field already, which is kind of nice. And
Mhm.
there'll be a lot of other races I have. There'll be a lot of other races I have here at Hayward Field. Like just I think Big Tens will be here next year. NCAs is probably there again, and then U20s is there next year, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And you've already had, you've had a lot of fond memories already at Hayward Field. You had a 1K national record there at the Oregon Relays. You had, a 359 split and a 1600 for a DMR just this past spring. And then, an opportunity this weekend to continue to add to that legacy. Before I ask you, this last question, are we going to expect a lot of Mercer Island people down here this weekend?
yeah, no, actually we are. A bunch of my like teammates and friends are coming up to watch me, which is that's just gonna be really cool. Just like I guess like scanning the entirety of Hayward Field and just seeing my teammates and friends there. That'll be kind of cool.
Yeah. And if they're not, are people going to be watching back home on NBC?
It's on NBC. I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
it's yeah, well on USA.TV, I should say that, not NBC. But yes, will there be people back home watching streaming or whatever, however they'll try to find it?
I mean, I'm hoping so, probably. I mean, if they
All
can
right,
figure out how to
Owen.
find it, I didn't even know how to find it.
Yeah, that's all right. That's why I'm here. I dish out the information. So USATF.tv is where you can find Owen's race for the men's international mile. But the last question I want to leave you with, and you can answer this however you want, one word, couple words, however. Does Owen Powell believe that he can run faster than 3:53:43?
I mean, I always gotta believe in myself. So that's why I gotta leave it at.
Simple enough. He keeps it real, guys. Awesome. We
Yeah,
look forward to seeing what you're able to do in your quote unquote last high school race, although really it's your first professional race against some
yeah,
very, very fast guys. But Owen, I really appreciate your time. The United States is watching for you. They're cheering you on, at least at the high school level. Good luck this weekend as you try to chase down a record potentially that seemed like it's been a while since someone has ran. So
yeah.
congratulations on success. We'll see you down at Hayward Field.
Sweet. Thank you.